Hello everybody, E here. Welcome back to another book review. Happy spooky season. We are on, what is this? It's like the second or third, I'm not sure how I'm going to schedule these, second or third of the horror novels. I'm also doing one short story each week. Most of them, the stuff that is free over on Amazon. If it's not free, then it's no more than like $2. But this is an actual novel review, and today we are talking about The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. This is the second book that I have read by Andy Davidson, the first one being The Boatman's Daughter, and while I enjoyed that one a lot more, I'm still giving this one a very high 4 stars, if for no other reason than the writing. The best part about any Andy Davidson book that I have found so far, I've even looked into In the Valley of the Sun. I have it on ebook, but I don't really care for reading novels on ebook because I spend so much time on my phone. If I can ever get a copy of the book, that an actual physical copy, I will definitely read that version. But anyways, so this one, what I was getting at with In the Valley of the Sun is I've read snippets of that. The writing in that is just as fantastic. This one just happens to be, and I'm not sure if The Boatman's Daughter was. I guess I could check. Hang on. Oh, I don't know where it is. Never mind. I don't know where it is off the top of my head, so I'm not going to go digging for it. What I thought it was actually Mr. Splitfoot by Samantha Hunt. Another good book. Anyways, they're both red, and they're both highly stylized paperbacks. Very nice texture, whatnot. But anyways, let's get back to this one. So The Hollow Kind is, I believe, Davidson's latest book. He had In the Valley of the Sun, which was up for a Stoker. He had The Boatman's Daughter, and then he has this one. This one and the Caitlin Starling, The Starving Saints, that I will be reviewing next week. They're both lockdown novels, which they were both written during the 2020, COVID lockdown, which I thought was interesting because I picked them up back to back. I had no idea that both of them were written during that time. Andy Davidson talks about that in the afterword of this one, the author's note. This story is about Nellie and her son Max and her crazy lineage. It jumps back and forth between the past and the present, but that's kind of where I want to stop. I want you to investigate and dive deep into this story. But basically, she's on the run from her abusive husband, and she ends up inheriting this property, and she moves on to it, and then typical horror stuff happens. And what I mean by typical horror stuff is the only thing I didn't like about this book. This is a tired, well overdone, overused trope. Somebody returns to their family town, their family home, or whatever, only to find out that it's haunted, infested by monsters, or some kind of cosmic deity, or whatever it might be. It's the same. It is the same in every single one of these books, and it is no different in this one. While this one is more literary fiction than, let's say, something like like a Todd Kiesling or a Tim Meyer, that kind of thing, while it is far more literary than those types of books, this book, that's about the best part about it, is the character development and the writing. Because all the rest of they all happen the same way, and I wish Davidson would have tried something a little bit different than the Homecoming stuff. But here's my thing. While it is a tired premise, Davidson fully commits, and by the end, I came to love the story. Like I said, the only issue is I've read this book 100 times by 100 different authors, and they all pretty much turn out the same way. It's unfortunate, but I'm really tired of this trope, and I'm finding more and more as I'm coming back to horror why I left horror to begin with. Luckily, Andy Davidson's writing is upper leagues, man. This is also one of my favorite publishers, FSG. Anything they publish, I was absolutely devour. I haven't read a bad FSG book. They publish Jeff Vandermeer. Let's see, what's her name? Let's see here. Maria Headley. I don't remember how to pronounce her middle name, or maybe it's her maiden name. I'm not sure. But anyways, Michael Faber. There's a bunch of stuff that they have published that, and I haven't read a bad one yet. I already said that. But this book follows Max and Nellie for the most part. The stuff in the past, I saw that. Don't get me wrong. Everything here has a point, and Davidson doesn't overstay his welcome with it. But it just felt kind of overdone. I mean, it's like I knew how each section was going to end over and over, chapter after chapter. I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen here. But then the ending came. And I cannot express this enough. The ending absolutely floored me. Most literary horror authors do not commit as hard as Andy Davidson does. Not Colson Whitehead. There's numerous Jock gems that none of these authors commit as hard as Andy Davidson does to the horror aspects of the book. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's when a character is on the run and they climb up a tower. That is one of the coolest things I have read in modern horror, period. I don't read much modern horror anymore because I've been let down by all of the big names. Josh Malerman, let's see here, Paul Tremblay. I think Trembles is the new blurb horror. And every horror novel that comes out, from Mariana Enriquez to Gabino Iglesias, every single one of these books has has one of Tremble's blurbs on it. He's the new Peter Straub, in that regard. So if you don't know, Straub would famously blurb anything. It didn't matter how good or bad it was. He famously would blurb anybody. He was a very nice dude, good dude. But I mean, if you asked for it, he'd come through for you. Anyways, so Davidson is he's another one like Keelan Patrick Burke, where he's working far above, not his pay grade, but he's writing stories. He's almost like Stephen King in the fact that he elevates whatever story he's telling with the writing. And I know elevated horror is things that, but I don't know how to differentiate between the two without calling one elevated and one just simple horror. Because there is a huge difference between this and Richard Lehman. There is a huge difference between Jack Jemps and someone like I don't want to offend anybody, but there's a huge difference between Haley Piper and some of the other people who are working. There is a big difference in quality. There's a big difference in writing, and these are authors working at the peak of their game that are, it's not just about the horror. And I wish more horror authors understood that it is more about the character and either loving or at least understanding your characters before anything can be scary. Yes, horror movies can have that nonsense with, that you got characters you don't care about that are just fodder. And to some extent, horror can too. But mostly that horror becomes like an action horror. It doesn't actually have the horror element. It's not scary. It's just kind of cool and bloody and gory and so on and so forth. I hope I've explained that. But yeah, Davidson is the type of horror author I fuck with because he's always writing at the top of his game. Same with Haley Piper. There's a couple other ones that are doing that, and then there's other people that are just going through the motions. You know who you are, and you know the people that I'm talking about. I don't have to sit here and give you a list of names. But the best working right now, Todd Kiesling, Andy Davidson, Haley Piper. Todd Kiesling is just a better example of like the old Richard Lehman kind of stuff, or more along the lines of like a Dan Simmons, with like Summer of Night and Song of Kale and that kind of thing. But at the end here, I really want to stress, even though I said that this is a very tired trope and I'm tired of this story, it's a fantastic book, and I might sound like I'm being overly critical, but the thing that saved it is the author who wrote it, and it's just a testament to all these stories that are overdone. As long as you put your own funk on it, as long as you make it your own, as long as you make it fun to read, it can still be used over and over again to a good effect. Because if Davidson's writing hadn't been as good as it was throughout the first 3/4 of this book, I definitely would have put it down, because it just, this scene after scene, I was like, yep, that's how that goes. Yep, that's how that goes. Yep, that's the curse. All right, that's how yes. Anyways, one highlight I will mention, there's a scene where he goes back and talks there in the past. There's a scene with a medium. That's my favorite scene visually. It's so striking. I could see the entire landscape. It was very Jeff Vandermeer. I could see everything, even stuff that wasn't painted. Davidson so fully realized this area that he was in, and it had this very oppressive, heavy horror, almost like a New Orleans kind of vibe to it. Anyways, fantastic stuff. If you have not read Andy Davidson, I highly recommend The Boatman's Daughter, but this is a good one to go with also. I have not read In the Valley of the Sun, but I hope to unfuck that very soon. But if you read The Hollow Kind or anything else by Andy Davidson, if you have, let me know what you thought about it down there in the doobly-doo. But until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been another book review. Hope you guys are enjoying spooky season. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!